Morning everybody, how are we doing? Sam here, United People's TV here for the first time with a live match preview with Manchester United in action tonight against CSKA Moscow in the Champions League, our final game. We won the first 4 games, then we lost away to Basel. But tonight against CSKA Moscow, as long as Manchester United avoid defeat by 7 goals, I think it is, we're going to get through to the knockout stage of the Champions League because we won our first 4 matches. How are you all doing? Where are you watching this from? As I said, I'm going to preview the game and also give you my predicted 11. As you can see from the little formation here, this is my predicted 11. I'll run through and explain exactly why I've chosen, who I've chosen in that team, and you can let me know who you would start in there. I know some of you would like to see Twan Zabe in there. But players you won't be seeing in action for Manchester United tonight. Jose Mourinho ruled quite a few players out in his pre-match press conference on Monday. He ruled out David De Gea, not ruled out as in they're injured so they can't play, but he said they won't play. Nemanja Matic, he did rule out due to injury. Fingers crossed he's fit for the derby, because Christ, we need him if we don't have Paul Pogba. David De Gea, Marouane Fellaini, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Michael Carrick, none of them are going to play against CSKA Moscow. Somebody who will play is Paul Pogba, because he, of course, is banned for 3 games. Manchester United and Pogba have chosen not to appeal that red card against Arsenal, which means he misses the next 3 games, first game of which is the Manchester derby at the weekend. It's a huge game for Pogba to miss. We're desperately going to miss him. It's going to be tough without him, but we're going to have to move on without him. Marouane Fellaini, I think he might start against City at the weekend, but he's not featuring in this game, whether that's Mourinho saying he's injured or Mourinho just resting him and keeping him 100% fit for that game. I don't know, but would you start Fellaini? Let me know in the comments as always. But what about CSKA Moscow? Let's run through a little bit about how they're doing at the moment. They're currently 3rd in the league, 7 points behind Lokomotiv Moscow, but they're unbeaten in the last 6 games in all competitions. 3rd in the Champions League group, and United won the reverse fixture between the sides 4-1 in September. Remember, we played with a 3-5-2, similar formation to what we've got going on here, and we played very, very well on the counter-attack. I don't think we're going to be playing counter-attacking football against Moscow this time. I think Man United will be hopefully playing on the front foot and controlling the game, but let's see how they're getting on. Well, when the game comes around, let me know where you're watching this from, as always, in the comments. You've got Marek watching from Melbourne, Joel Boss watching from Kenya. We've got Sam Cisse watching from Gambia, morning to you all, and Firmino, not that Firmino, watching from Angola. And what about YouTube? We've got Odin watching from Jamaica, Maylene watching from Spain, Zongizeli watching from Pretoria, Randy Davies watching from Antigua, Nicholas Myers, as always, tuning in from Barcelona. Good morning to you all, and Mustafa Barrow watching from Italy. Reds all around the world. Got a comment there from Maylene asking about how about Eric Bailly. There's not been a word on Eric Bailly just yet. Fingers crossed he's going to be back sooner rather than later, but I tell you what, Rojo, Lindelof and Smalling, they're looking very, very good at the moment. Rojo doing well. Lindelof in particular, his form has certainly turned around. He's looking very strong. And I'll be happy if all 3 of them started against City, if I'm honest. But ideally, you want Eric Bailly back. And we've got John Hammond watching from Leicester, Philip from Norfolk, and Sul Heil. I'm not going to say his second name. Watching from Mauritius Island. Good morning to you all. What I'm going to do now is run through my predicted start 11 for the game. As you can see, Sergio Romero is in goal because Mourinho has said that David De Gea is going to be rested. Now, if you can rest him, why not? He's probably knackered after making 14 saves, a Premier League equalled record against Arsenal, so maybe he does deserve a night off. Back 3, Lindelof, Jones and Smalling, giving Rojo a little bit of a rest. Phil Jones has been in training this week. Maybe it's a perfect game to bring him back in. And when you're playing in the back 3, there's less pressure on a centre-back to make too much running, too much pressure. So fingers crossed, maybe Jones can get a few minutes under his belt. Maybe, as Nicholas Myers points out there, we shouldn't be playing Jones from the start, but I think he'll get a few minutes under his belt. Somebody else who will hopefully start, Luke Shaw. Jose Mourinho said that he deserves an opportunity and he's been fighting for his opportunity. And he said he deserved one. I feel Mourinho's comments are a little bit wafer thin, if I'm honest, because Mourinho hasn't been given Shaw his opportunities when he has been deserving of them. So I don't know why that's changed now, but hopefully we'll see him here. And I think with Ashley Young and Antonio Valencia, Mourinho will definitely rest both of those players, because if we are going to beat City on Sunday, I think Young and Valencia are going to be the 2 players who are most crucial to making that happen. I will explain why in my preview for the City game. In midfield, Paul Pogba, I'm starting Scott McTominay alongside him, because I think Scott has a potential opportunity to start against City, or at least feature in the squad on the bench. And what better way to bring him closer towards being ready, 100% ready for the first team, than playing him alongside Paul Pogba in the midfield too. I think McTominay is probably seen by Jose Mourinho as a potential Matic replacement if Matic was to be injured. So again, another reason to play him at that left central midfield role and let him operate basically as Matic would. Mkhitaryan, I'm starting in the number 10 role, giving Jesse Lingard a rest, and Mkhitaryan needs something to rekindle his form because he's been pony for the last couple of months. 5 assists in August, but ever since September time, Mkhitaryan, basically when Pogba got injured, Mkhitaryan went on a downward curve and he's never ever recovered. We need him to. And that's why I think maybe starting him in this game will be the perfect opportunity. And Rashford and Lukaku up front, giving Martial a little bit of a rest. More so the case of just I want to see Rashford start up front as well. So I would like to switch between the two. You can't play all three in the front two. So I'm going to give Martial a rest from the bench, maybe bring him on. He does change the game from the bench, just like Marcus Rashford does as well. Let's read through a few more of your comments before we continue. We've got Monik saying, do you see Romero starting games in the Champions League in the last 16? He's just become our adjunctive goalkeeper. Doesn't get enough credit. You know, he was fantastic in the Europa League last year, and Mourinho rewarded him by letting him play the final. I think Romero is the best second-choice goalkeeper we've ever had, that I've ever seen at United. I don't think he should be starting the Champions League knockout rounds, though. I don't think he'd be starting this game if it was a match that Manchester United needed to win. It's a luxury because Man United have won the first 4 games and know that as long as they don't lose by 7, they're through. So Mourinho's given De Gea a rest and given Romero game time just to keep the peace, I suppose. You know, just like Sir Alex Ferguson, he rotated the likes of Sheringham, Solskjaer, York and Cole. And there was only 2 up front, but he rotated 4 top draw strikers and gave them all enough minutes to keep them all happy. That's what Mourinho's doing by playing Sergio Romero here. We've got Football India saying Tuanzebe over Jones would be a good choice. Also Herrera over McTominay because Herrera's lacked his X factor and he needs this match to get his confidence back. Fair point. Maybe we do need Ander Herrera here in this game so that he's going to be ready for that derby. Because remember the derby last year, we played with the midfield 2 and Herrera was on the bench, and it wasn't until Herrera came on in the second half that United changed the tempo of the game at all and got any sort of foothold in it. But it was too little too late by that point. I hope this doesn't happen against City on Sunday, but maybe you're right there, mate, in that we should be starting Ander Herrera just to give him the biggest opportunity to get his form back just before we play. Gurab Bizwaz on Facebook saying, I don't think we have a strong enough midfield to beat City without Pogba. I do fear that as well, but it's going to happen, so let's fingers crossed hope that Man United do have that. Master P saying, I believe in Shaw, and with Mkhitaryan, he really needs this. Mkhitaryan does need this. Luke Shaw needs it. Mkhitaryan needs it. There's a couple of fringe players who really do need, I don't know whether it's an arm around the shoulder or something to rekindle their form and rekindle their confidence. Mkhitaryan, none more so than Mkhitaryan. But Luke Shaw, I always feel it's unfair for fringe players to be expected to come back into the first team straight away and just nail it, be 10 out of 10 straight away. It's tough. And if Luke Shaw does get a chance, he has to remember that just don't make any mistakes, just play well. I don't really know what Luke Shaw has to do. Maybe he feels that he's got to put in like a 10 out of 10, get a goal and an assist from left back to really usurp Ashley Young. But with Ashley Young playing so well at the moment, I don't think it matters how well Shaw plays, even if he does start, because Young's not going to get kicked out of the team. A couple of you asking about whether Matic is injured. Now, this is what Mourinho has said about Matic. Let me find the quotes for you. In fact, no, I can't even find the quotes for you. But he effectively did say that Matic is injured at the moment. He's not hiding it. I hope it's nothing more than a precautionary because we desperately need Matic against City. If we don't have him, I'm not that confident. But what about the game tonight against CSKA Moscow? Let me know your predictions in the comments below. I'll read a few of them out. But what I think, I've got a comment here from Sam H saying, can you explain the head-to-head goal difference criteria or how it works? It's a little bit complicated, but I'll read you the explanation from UEFA.com. It said, United will qualify in first place with a point and can afford to lose by 6 goals and still go through. If they lose to CSKA Moscow and Basel do not win, United and CSKA will go through with the first place determined by the head-to-head results, and United won 4-1. So CSKA would have to beat us by a bigger margin than that to beat us on the head-to-head. It said if CSKA and Basel win, the top 2 will be decided in a 3-way head-to-head, and United would be through in this situation unless they lost by 7 goals and would be top unless they lost by 5 goals. So United have put themselves in a very, very privileged position tonight. We are comfortably going through unless shit really hits the fan and we lose like 5, 6, 7-0 to CSKA Moscow. And I don't think that's going to happen. This might come back to haunt me if we do, but I don't think it will. Let's read a few of your predictions out. We've got Anton Leighton on Facebook saying 3-0 to Manchester United. We've got True United fan saying 4-1. Prakesh saying 5-0. Sharik saying 2-0. And Chudi Lasbourne saying 3-0. And Jimmy Chalmers saying 3-1. Philip Lomax agrees 3-1 tonight with Rashford, Pogba and Fellaini. I'm not sure if Fellaini will play. Nicholas Myers asking if we'll see Angel Gomez and Demi Mitchell. I think they're going to be reserved for maybe the FA Cup performances, maybe the League Cup performances. Not a game like this in the Champions League. That's my own opinion. Maybe Mourinho disagrees. But I agree with a couple of your points there. I'm going to go for 3-1 for Manchester United. I think we've got more than enough to beat CSKA Moscow without some of our key players starting. And we're in a good position. We don't have to play out from the back. I personally kind of feel it's going to be like a 0-0 type game. But maybe, I'm just being optimistic that goals are going to continue. 4 against Watford, 3 against Arsenal. I'm going to go 3 tonight. Even though secretly deep down inside, I think I know it's going to be a 0-0. But I'm going to predict 3-1 for Manchester United. We've got Mohamed saying 4-0. OD McNeil saying 3-0. Chirag saying 4-0. Sapta Bose saying 6-0. And Abitini saying 5-1. Lots of confident Reds. And I think you've got every right to be confident. Well, won our first 4 games, beat CSKA Moscow 4-1 away. Unless something catastrophic happens, United are in the knockout stages of the Champions League. That is it for the live match preview. Thank you all for joining in. I quite enjoyed that. It's good to talk about the game live and get all your comments. If you're new to the channel, as always, hit that subscribe button down on YouTube. If you're new on the Facebook page, drop a like on the page and join us every single day, Monday to Friday, 10:30 a.m. British Standard Time, and join in MUFC Daily. And today, a live match preview for the CSKA Moscow game. As I said, thank you all for joining in. Take it easy.